Howdy guys, Jimmy Song here. Welcome to another round of the Bitcoin Tech Talk Show. I did one of these last week. I thought it was good. Hopefully it's a way to get you guys to do this stuff. All right, let me see here. All right. For some reason, I'm getting an echo, so I have to figure out where it's happening. Sorry. Let's see, where is the actual thing happening? All right, let's just start closing windows and see what happens. Found it. All right, great. I can close this now. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting an echo in my ear, right? Like the broadcast is always like a 4 or 5 second delay. So if I'm hearing myself from 4 seconds ago, it's really hard to complete a thought. So anyway, let's take a look at the Bitcoin Tech Talk issue, and let's I'll talk about the various things that have happened in the past week. Some articles, some different proposals and things like that. All right, so here is the issue. Segwit V1 is the big thing. So let's take a look at that. Schnorr, Taproot, etc. upgrade. This is written by Anthony Towns. AJ is based out of Australia. Got to meet him actually like about a week ago. Really nice guy. There's a Segwit version 1 proposal that encompasses a whole ton of things that are in this proposal. Now, if you're not familiar with what Segwit version 1 or version 0 or whatever it is, part of what Segwit did is it allowed for a very easy future upgrade. So right now we're on Segwit version 0. And really, it's 2 different types of scripts there that you can use with Segwit, and that is pay to witness pub key hash and pay to witness script hash. Both are useful. The second one, pay to witness script hash, is what makes transactions not malleable for stuff like the Lightning Network for payment channels, and makes it safer to open and so on. But one of the other things that they really cleverly designed in there is that there are multiple versions of Segwit that you can have. And you can have Segwit version 1, Segwit version 2, and so on. And that's the idea here, is that we can we're now going to have like a large base of improvements that are going to happen as a soft fork in Segwit version 1. So what's included? Well, so here's the first thing. We have Schnorr signatures. If you're not familiar with Schnorr signatures, it makes it really nice to calculate. It's probably faster because it uses hashes instead of using elliptic curve and finite field division, which can be very expensive for a computer, although that's been optimized a lot using libsec. But Schnorr signatures also allow signature aggregation and even key aggregation using something like Music. What does that mean? Well, it means that on-chain, it looks like 1 key, 1 signature. But off-chain, like when you actually sign it, it could be 7 keys, 7 signatures, and they just get combined. And as far as the blockchain knows, it's 1 key, 1 signature, but it's actually controlled by 7 different people. And you can make this like very large. And the level of interactivity is a little bit annoying. You have to like pass states around and stuff like that, but it's very much possible. You don't have to store each signature of a multi-sig separately, and that's a really good thing. It's also, like a lot simpler and easier to explain than ECDSA. Part of that is because Schnorr was under patent for a long time, and at least when Satoshi created Bitcoin, Schnorr was not something that he could use safely without, fear of getting sued and things like that. All right, so that's one. Taproot. This is a proposal from Greg Maxwell. It lets you have different branches of execution, basically, and you can sort of keep it hidden until you reveal what the conditions for that were, and any of the other branches are not shown. So that's a very nice privacy improvement. Yeah. So as part of the Schnorr update, Segwit version 1 will not support ECDSA, checksig, and check multisig ops. So instead of using ECDSA, if you're using Segwit version 1, you would only be using Schnorr. So there is no ECDSA for Segwit version 1, or at least that's the proposal. Adding opmask to support script masking via sig hash. So this is a really interesting proposal. Right now, everything is signed like sig hash all. And what that means is that when you sign a transaction with an output that's assigned to you, so you have some Bitcoins to spend, when you sign it, almost everybody just uses sig hash all, which means this specific entire transaction I will sign off on. And if the whole transaction doesn't go through, then you're going to have to ask me for a new signature. Now, this can get kind of annoying if you're doing something like Lightning, because you have to constantly fund it, and you have to open a new channel and so on. What opmask does is you can mask certain parts of it off and say, okay, well, as long as this transaction has this particular form, it's okay. So the output amount, as long as this output amount is right, or something like that, I am willing to sign it. And this ends up being actually really useful for something like Lightning, and you could do it a lot more efficiently because Lightning changes things quite often, right? Like it'll the channel state, or the payment channel state, gets updated quite frequently. So oftentimes when you run out of money on a channel, then you're going to have to like redo it. This may facilitate some other ways to fund your channel again, because if you already have a signature from the other party that's good for a particular type of transaction, without necessarily caring about the inputs or something like that, this makes it much easier. Let's see. I think that's a fairly modest collection of things. Schnorr, new sig hash, taproot, Merkleized scripts, avoid weird check multisig behavior, upgradability. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's see. That way, any of the op success. Oh yeah, and they want to make op success semantics. So almost any opcode that's not currently used just sort of succeed. And this is for future upgradability. And this is only for Segwit version 1. And, it's a different code path execution anyway. So these are all interesting and good improvements. All right, let's take a look at the next story. Who controls Bitcoin Core? Great story from Jameson Lopp. He goes through basically all the FUD that people have been saying for a long time about Bitcoin Core. And this is like, I always tell people, okay, Bitcoin is decentralized. Everything else is centralized, including Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Ethereum, even like Monero or Zcash or whatever. They're all centralized. And the reply I always get that always comes back is, well, Bitcoin Core is centralized and mining centralized. And I had an article a while back about how mining isn't really centralized. I mean, like there's a manufacturer centralization, but that's not the same thing. And there's no control that miners can really impose on the network necessarily. But Jameson goes through what Bitcoin Core is, how you can verify everything, and how really it's a shelling point for a lot of the development. and how you can't really like say that it's centralized, right? Like there's a lot of people that that contribute to it, but and you can fork off anytime that you want, including UASF, and that was probably one of the bigger ones. He also cites my article in there, A Gentle Introduction to Bitcoin Core Development, and he goes through a lot of this. Great article. And this is now going to be the article that I'm just going to point to whenever they, everybody else is like, but my coin is decentralized. And I say, no, it's not. And they go, well, Bitcoin is centralized because of Bitcoin Core. This is the article that I'm going to point to. All right. So great article there. You should take a look at it. Here's another one, subscription payments with Bitcoin. That's an interesting concept because you can't really do subscription payments that easily with Bitcoin, but that tends to be a giant use case for a lot of people. And this is something that credit cards are extremely good at is, they keep your credit card on file, your private key, in other words, and they just charge you once a month or something like that for your healthcare or health club membership or, like some subscription service like, GitHub or something or Slack or whatever. Anyway, it's a very interesting concept here. You can use some script to make it work. It's what's called a style contract. Please take a look. If you are interested in subscription payments at all. All right, how price affects miners. This was published by BitMEX Research. They do a lot of really good work on basically the economics of mining. And it's a very good article about, okay, well, what happens there, right? Like how are people going to reply? Here's the conclusion. While it may be true that mining pools selling Bitcoin to fund losses in the Bitcoin Cash hash war may have been a catalyst for the reduction in the price, we think it's easy to overestimate the impact of this. We are in a bear market and prices are falling regardless of the news or investment flows. Furthermore, in a bear market, prices seem to fall on non-news or bad news and ignore good news, which in a bull market, the reverse appears true. We think it's likely that prices would have been weak regardless of any miner selling prior to the Bitcoin Cash split. For cryptocurrency, trader sentiment is king. This is likely to be a very tough time for the mining industry. However, for miners with lower costs, our basic analysis indicates that the situation may be better than people expect. If the miners acquired their equipment from Bitmain at below cost prices, they could still be in the green, even when including depreciation and other administrative expenses. I keep hearing stuff about how a lot of miners are trying to get rid of their equipment. S9s are selling for like $150 a piece. A year ago, they were going for like $3,000, $4,000. So there's definitely something going on here, and it's going to, it's going to be an interesting few months as price continues. All right, here's another article that I wanted to point out. There is no death spiral, an honest explanation of price, hash rate, and Bitcoin network mining network dynamics. Death spiral was something I think a couple of people on Twitter were talking about, and this is basically refuting, how the actual mining, calculations should be done. The cost to mine one Bitcoin is usually about 3,400 per BTC. And this is an average figure. And anyone that's above the average is probably not mining anymore. If you're below that average, you're still definitely mining because last I checked, it's like $3,500. So, interesting stuff about how like miners often have like energy contracts that last a long time and stuff like that, and you can't easily get out of them and so on. Very thorough article. Totally encourage you to take a look. All right, some lightning stuff. Here is a proposal: unspecified Bolt protocol extensions. The idea behind this proposal is that right now Bolt is sort of like leading the way in terms of specifying, but this developer ZMN SCPXJ. You can't really pronounce that because there are no vowels in there. But you know, very prominent Lightning dev, at least on the email list and so on, wants some way for permissionless innovation. And so this is a specification to allow for permissionless innovation using protocol extensions that not everyone has to use. So really good stuff. I encourage you to take a look at it if you are a Lightning dev. All right, another one. This is a really cool project. It's you can have Lightning on your browser. So you can install it for Google Chrome and so on. But it has everything that you need. It's a quick and easy setup. I haven't looked into like what the security properties of it are, but the fact that you can install Lightning on your browser, that's pretty awesome. And you can do that very, very quick. All right. And if you want instructions on setting up Joule, Pierre Rochard has written up a very thorough and easy to follow instructions on exactly how you can do this using his node launcher and so on. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in you know, playing with Lightning even a little bit, or buying something from a Lightning store, or posting to yalls.org or whatever, that you do this. I think there are several sites now. I saw one earlier today where you can play chess for sats using the Lightning Network. There's several gambling sites that you can just use Lightning and you get it. You get the money back in like 5 seconds or something. So really cool, you know, use cases, and you can definitely have lots of things to play with. So that's another one. All right, let's take a look at this next story. And this is Bitcoin and the promise of independent property rights. So Hasu has been writing a ton of articles about, you know, Bitcoin, and this this is a framework that's really effective, I think. So I would encourage you to read it. Unfortunately, it looks like it's behind the paywall. I didn't realize that, so yeah, sorry. All right, and Mini Sketch. This is something that was developed, I think, by Peter Woolley and Greg Maxwell. It's a library for BCH-based set reconciliation. That's not Bitcoin Cash. It's it stands for something else. But yeah, it's basically a protocol to reconcile sets. So if I have some set of transactions and you have some set of transactions, how do we tell the difference and efficiently communicate that difference quickly to each other? And it's not just transactions, right? It's useful for all sorts of things. So that's what Mini Sketch is, and there's a whole bunch of code here. It looks like it's written in C++, so you can take a look at it and see what you can do with it. But it's built for Bitcoin, but you can do a lot of other stuff with it. Anyway, that is it for the Bitcoin Tech Talk part of the show. Let's see if there are any questions in chat, and we should take a look. All right, not echoing. What do you think about Satoshi Run? It's a good question. Let me look it up. Satoshi Run. Satoshi Run. I don't see any website, or at least it doesn't. Yeah, I don't see anything, but maybe it's like a website, satoshirun.com or something like that. Satoshi Run. Oh, an annual proof of reserves on Bitcoin Central Services. Oh, by taking it out. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to stress test things as a way to, you know, like make Bitcoin more anti-fragile. I think that's a very good thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have money on exchanges really, so it's not really a problem for me. All right, let's see. All right. What do you think about Blockstream Bitcoin Satellite? Yeah, so I like the concept, and apparently now you can use the uplink to broadcast transactions for some sort of a fee. And that is really, really interesting, especially for places like North Korea. I was asked back at Paralennis Polis. This is the conference back in October in Prague. I was talking to a couple of North Korean activists. Actually, they had gone in there. One of them was born there, and he managed to escape and stuff like that. And one of the things we were talking about is, well, can you really bring Bitcoin to North Korea? Because their internet is completely controlled by the government. I was telling them, well, you could do something like a mesh network, samurai wallets, using something like that. And if you're close enough to the Chinese or Korean border, then that might work. Or you would need some sort of like device to be able to broadcast that. If Blockstream can make some sort of very smallish device that can go into North Korea, that might work. Right, that might work. Right now, apparently, the biggest currencies in North Korea are the Chinese yuan, the euro, and the U.S. dollar. That's what gets traded on the black markets for various things. And if you can add Bitcoin to that, that would be amazing. They might become like a big time player on that. Okay. And who knows? Maybe they can enable some sort of lightning. I don't know. But yeah, that would be interesting on its own. But in the meantime, maybe, I don't know, OpenDime could work for without any of the uplinks, and you can just verify, and then you're done, and then you keep passing it around. But it does require some equipment or somebody to run some stuff, and that requires electricity and things like that. Cash is more convenient in those places where you don't really have electricity or whatever. So yeah, something to think about. All right. Interview Craig Wright, please. Yeah, right. No, I refuse to associate with that scammer. All right, let's see. Don't just say BSV will go to zero without. I never said it was going to zero. I said it would lose like 90%, and that's largely because it's really centralized, right? Like, I mean, the fact that Calvin Ayre was, pretending that like the Satoshi account actually signed something when I had a blog article not too long ago about how it was a fake signature and anyone could generate it. He was trying to scam people into believing that Satoshi had come back. People are going to notice stuff like that, right? Like, how are you going to get new users onto your platform when you're clearly scamming? I mean, I can't see it going up, but there are people sort of losing faith, right? Like, there aren't that many people that are that have been on Bitcoin SV. The price continues to drop. I expect it to continue to drop because really there aren't really new players coming in to Bitcoin SV, and same thing for Bitcoin ABC. I like after the split, it sort of destroyed this credibility that they were the real Bitcoin. So you have two camps. Where are you going to get your new users? Where are you going to get them? Like you need new people to come in and hold, and nobody's really doing that, right? Like the only people holding are the people that were there before, and you got half the number of people, probably much less than that. There's a lot of people that seem like they have left Bitcoin Cash altogether, and either gotten out altogether, or maybe they're in Bitcoin, maybe they're in Ethereum. I don't know. But where are you going to get your new users? Where are you going to get them? Right? Like, and as soon as they find out about Craig S. Wright and his scammy past, and Calvin Ayre, like tweeting that Satoshi said something, no, he didn't, and you're either an idiot or you're actively trying to deceive people. I don't know which one's worse, but that's where that's why I think it's going to drop 90%. Now, is it going to go to zero? Probably not. I mean, there's always at least some people that believe in stuff. I mean, there are coins from 2011, like IX coin and Tenebricks, that are still around and have non-zero value. So, I mean, it'll get to that point at some point. I mean, they could try a rebrand or something like that. That might bring in some people. I mean, or they can reintroduce inflation or something. But I just don't see it, guys. And yeah, that's the truth. All right. All right. Let's talk about when Bitmain bankrupt. Sorry to say, guys, but they have a giant war chest, and yeah, they did blow a lot of it on Bitcoin Cash, but I think they have a lot of money. And if especially if their IPO goes through, they're gonna have an even bigger war chest. Would I like to see them punished for their BCH folly? Yeah, they kind of already are being punished, right? Like they probably made billions of dollars in 2016, 2017, but you know, like they blew a lot of it buying like BCH at like $2,500, and now it's like worth $180, like BSV and BAB together. Like that's what you call a very, very bad investment. So I don't know. Like we'll see. If they do file for an IPO, people will be scrutinizing their public finances very, very closely, and I imagine that would give us a much better idea of how close they are to bankruptcy. But you know, if you do sell stock to the public, well, you're going to have at least something. What I'm hearing though is that they don't really have that many good products in the pipeline, as far as I can tell, and you need to innovate during that. And this is where Bitmain really won in the last bear market. Is they were producing new mining machines with some really talented people, and they absolutely crushed everybody else in the mining market. Will they be able to do that during this bear market? I don't know, because they haven't released anything really new, in at least for Bitcoin, in a few years. They've come out with ASICs for all sorts of other coins. They have like a Dash miner and an Ethereum miner, Litecoin miner. I think they even tried to make a Monero one, but Monero switched to proof of work, so now they're using those for Bitcoin or something like that. You know, they can do something like that, but you know, I mean, they haven't really innovated on the Bitcoin side, and we know that like the 7 nanometer process has been around for a while, but you know, they just haven't been able to really capture any of that market. Rumors are that there's a major chip designer that left after they refused to give him more equity, and that guy is now in his own mining company. So I don't know. During bear markets, if you're slow and like fat or can't move fast enough, or as a company, then you're probably going to be taken out by somebody that's more nimble, that it's more lean, that knows what they're doing. So I expect their market share to decrease significantly, at the very least. But bankruptcy, I don't think so. All right, let's see. How is BTC innovating for global adoption, Matt? Well, I guess that this person is like arguing with people. It seems like a BSV show. All right, let's see. Celebrating BSV. All right, these aren't questions, guys. All right. Let's see. Where is the next one? All right. I think I saw a question. How's your book doing? Well, it's done pretty much, at least on my end. O'Reilly has to go through the publishing process. That means replacing a lot of the images I have in there, making them look right, going page by page and laying them out and typesetting them and all that stuff. That takes apparently like 3 months. So hopefully it's done before South by Southwest. I am planning to have some sort of a book launch party. You know, it'll be like a carnivory dinner, and you know, you get like a signed book or something like that. And yeah, I'm planning that before South by Southwest, maybe like a week before. Hopefully everything's done by then. And yeah, it'll be maybe 100, 200 people, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. If you guys are interested, let me know. Okay. Let's see the next question. Do you think consensus rules allow the Bitcoin Cash forks to ever assume the Bitcoin name if the block height ever gets higher? No. Full stop. That's it. Can you explain rendezvous routing lightning? I haven't studied that particular routing algorithm, so I can't tell you. Let's see. If no, do you really need from? Well, okay. What is this person? If North Koreans can't freely buy in the international markets, what good does Bitcoin do for them? Well, it does allow for a store of value. And certainly the euro and the US dollar are better stores of value than the North Korean currency. So that's why the black market trades in those. But those currencies also depreciate like significantly, like 6-7% a year. It's not the CPI statistics; it's really money supply that you have to measure. So I mean, if they have a nice store of value, that's a good thing. And like the regime, it can't last forever. Like no regime ever lasts forever. So I don't know. It's an interesting question whether or not they would find it useful. Certainly, the people in hyperinflating economies find Bitcoin useful for store of value. All right, let's see. Coldcard versus Trace Mayer's approach. Bitcoin Core, Armory, Glacier Protocol, Purism Laptop. Any thoughts on what is better? Yeah, the whole cold storage stuff is not that great still. And Glacier Protocol is just way too complicated and takes too much time to be able to do properly. Now I know people that have done it, but you go through the instructions. That thing is like just really, really long. So I'm still waiting for some sort of like good multi-sig plus HSM kind of thing. HSM is would be really, really good for key signing, and it would destroy the private key inside if you tried to tamper with it. So that would be a FIPS level 3 one. What do you think about Neo? And is it really, and is it better than ETH? I think smart contracts are idiotic. At least the ones that have to use an oracle, because it's centralized, right? Like you're not really getting anything off the platform. You're paying an enormous amount of money to have somebody adjudicate for you. I don't think it really matters. You can run those as a centralized service much better. Because of Gresham's law, do fiat currencies need to pretty much die for Bitcoin to finally take off? I think it's taken off already. Depends on your definition of takeoff. As far as adoption, I would say a lot more people will start to adopt it as the core of Bitcoin users grows, or people that value it as a store of value. Like if I value Bitcoins, and I do, like you can't like attend my seminar unless you pay me in Bitcoin and things like that. You're going to have to convert to Bitcoin in order to be able to pay me. And that will happen more and more as more merchants and people that are getting paid demand Bitcoin in lieu of dollars. And that's really when the shifts start to happen. Are we near that? Not really. Not too many people are taking Bitcoin and keeping it in Bitcoin, right? Most merchants just convert it back to fiat. It's really just kind of a convenient way to sell Bitcoin, as far as I'm concerned. Like it has a depressing effect on the price because people are basically selling. And now you could buy it back, but I mean, why would you do it that way? That's just using it as a really terrible credit card, and you get like you suffer from slippage on both ends, and any exchange risk or whatever. It ends up being actually a terrible deal for the consumer. All right. What are your thoughts on XMR? I mean, I think they're technologically interesting, but they're still an altcoin as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. How can I send my pension fund? I have no idea because I don't know about it. Let's see. Any other stuff? A lot of people repeating questions. Is it profitable to run a full node Lightning network that channels? Depends on like how many channels you have open and how much of a routing fee you can get and so on. Do you plan something like programming Bitcoin to cover even more Bitcoin related stuff plus Lightning? Yes, Yaro. Yes, I am. The plan is to do some sort of a wallet based seminar, and then I can write a book on it. And after that, Lightning should be pretty hardened to a particular way of doing things. Right now, it's a little bit in flux because we cover Segwit version 1 with Schnorr and things like that. Once you have Schnorr signatures, Lightning just becomes so much easier. So you can have 2 of 2 channels and 2 of 2 addresses and things like that. So and SigHash, op mask and things like that. Those will make it much easier. All right, let's see. I did try kangaroo meat in Australia, so that was pretty good. Are there any security issues with running a Lightning node? Well, the first and primary thing is that your private key is online. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Like if you want to receive money just in Bitcoin, you just post an address. Your public key, or a hash of your public key to be more specific, is online, but your private key can be offline. But with Lightning, your private key has to be online. So it's a different security model, and this is why they tell you not to put too much in a Lightning channel. Maybe like a few $100 or something like that, but not too much more than that. But I'm definitely going to play with it. I'll probably set up some sort of a Lightning store in the next few weeks and see if I can sell some stuff. I don't know. All right, let's see. If I were to drop 100 BTC, nope. Is there? Oh gosh, these things. I wish the scroll would be stable because then I don't have to keep going. Is there any schedule for anonymity update to Bitcoin? I don't think so. There's no real proposal for that as far as I'm concerned. Cold card, I haven't played with enough, but it's more or less like a Trezor, no? Is there a time span we can expect privacy features to happen? I mean, Taproot and Schnorr are on the Segwit V1 horizon. Now, are you going to get fully anonymous transactions on Bitcoin? Probably not. Maybe on a sidechain. You can do confidential transactions and confidential assets right now on Liquid, for example. But yeah, we'll see. What the market really wants and needs. All right. What is the ultimate goal of Bitcoin Core? Yeah, that's by that troll again. When Lightning operational, it's already operational. You can do it right now. So I mean, like, man, so many trolls that are like, oh, Lightning is not going to be ready for 2 years. It's working right now. You can go buy stuff. How can I convince people that the term Bitcoin Core for BTC is not evergreen and in fact anti-evergreen? Bitcoin Core refers to the particular piece of software. Bitcoin is BTC. I think that's the common parlance. I like, no matter how many times, trolls or BCH people try to reclaim the term. It doesn't work that way. That's not how they do things. Jimmy, do you know hyperwave theory of Tyler Jenks? I mean, I'm friends with Leah. I haven't met Tyler, but I hear it's interesting. I don't know. I have to study trading a lot more to be able to comment on it in an interesting way. All right. How many Lambos do you have? Zero. All right. What's a counter argument to people saying Bitcoin is mostly used for illegal transactions? The main argument I would give is the Silk Road went down in October of 2013. The next 7 weeks, Bitcoin went from about $100 to $1,100. What's that tell you? Well, if illegal activity was the main reason, price would have gone down. But instead, it went up. I think most people use it as store of value. And if you were using it for illegal activity, you wouldn't care about the price. You would just convert to Bitcoin, buy your illegal thing, and then the merchant would convert back to, you know, US dollars or whatever their local currency is. And, you know, you would only care about slippage. The same process works whether Bitcoin's $1 or $1 million. Vast majority of people that are in Bitcoin care about price, including you guys, right? Like, that's why you guys watch Toad's show. So yeah, that's my comment. I am going to try to have a second YouTube show. Like, that's you know, this is my you know, weekly roundup kind of show. I do want to see if there's interest in some sort of like a book club type of show where we go through like a particular Bitcoin book, maybe a couple of chapters at a time or something like that. Probably start with the Bitcoin Standard. I want to get more into Austrian economics and things like that. If you guys think that's something that you would watch, please let me know in the comments. Also, please give me a thumbs up and a share if you find this video interesting. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. I do want to give a little bit of promo for my seminar. Let me go to my new website so you guys can see it, and let's share it. Share application window. Here is my website, Programming Blockchain. The next two are in Las Vegas and London. It's a 2-day seminar. I've updated a lot of the material. It's really you know, a little bit closer to the book and so on. The book won't be out until after this point. But yeah, there's a link for the book as well, and you can see what the cover looks like and so on. Other stuff, you know, there's my book coming out, the seminar. There's a conference that I will be speaking at. The next two, and you know, Las Vegas and London are not coincidental. So this is Tone's seminar, Unconfiscatable. I will be speaking there, probably leading a panel and talking about various things. Here is the standard and VIP pricing. Really cool stuff, and yeah, I think you're gonna want to pay in Bitcoin because it's much cheaper. There will be a carnivory dinner there, and the other conference I am going to be speaking at is in London, and this is Advancing Bitcoin. This is London, February 7th and 8th. Leon Johnson, who is a former student of mine, is organizing this conference. It's meant for developers that aren't necessarily like, you know, super, you know, like experienced in Bitcoin. It's to get you in the door and so on. I'm obviously speaking here. I have several former students that are also speaking. But yeah, it's meant to be for coders and so on. A lot of interesting people will be there, and we're also going to have a carnivory dinner, which I'm trying to arrange right now. So yeah. Lots of good events coming up, and you know, I am going to try to attend only like you know, Bitcoin maximalist events. I think possibly one or two that are not, or you know, like are really big and not related to Bitcoin, like South by Southwest. So that's the plan. Wanted to show all of those. Anyway. Thank you guys for watching. This song is done.